Hello, if you are just joining us today, we are going through a couple different techniques for hand building with clay. So what I have in front of me is a clay board. Mine is bigger than the one that you guys have in that cupboard in the clay room, but same concept for putting on your table. I also have a cup of slip. You guys will be sharing these at your table. Notice how there's water mixed with that clay mushed around in there for that adhesive use. I have also with me a needle tool. You can find that in one of the drawers in the clay room, and also a few options and shapes for woodblock tools. I have pre-rolled out with the slab roller a slab for my third technique. I'm going to put this aside though for now. And then I have another ball of plastic consistency clay. So remember the stage of clay that it needs to be for your molding and sculpting phase. And when you get this clay, sometimes you grab multiple pieces. It's important that you wedge that clay into one mass before you start constructing. So it's good to wedge, and how you wedge on the table, or actually how to wedge in your hands first, is that you want to push it into a sphere. And you're going to use the heel of your palm, this part here, and you're going to smash into it and then spin it around to make it very dense and push those bubbles out. So this is called hand wedging. And I'm kind of spinning it with one hand and then smooshing it with the other, heel of my palm, to make it really dense and get out anything. Now I'm not folding it, I'm not making bubbles. This is what you'll do before you put it on the pottery wheel too. But notice how there aren't any wrinkles. It's kind of smoothing things out too. Some people like to wedge on the table. If you're doing that, I suggest you stand up and maybe do it on the wood counter in the clay room. Sometimes it's hard to do it on your table with a board, but what you do is you push down with your heel of your palm again, and then you have to fold it over without making a taco. You don't want to make an air bubble in here, but you kind of have to push it from the back and then smush those bubbles out. And I like to spin it and just kind of I don't do it hard enough to make it a pancake. I just kind of smush it kind of middle pressure and go back to hand wedging. So the first type of hand building I'm going to show you real quick is pinching. So if you are doing, for example, a bowl shape, you are going to want to hand wedge into a perfect sphere. And pinching is exactly what it sounds like. It's when you are using your fingers and you are pushing them together to pinch and manipulate that clay. So if I was to make a bowl, I want to make sure all these wrinkles are out of here. First, make sure it's all one mass, no air bubbles. And I'm going to use my thumb and I'm going to press it right into the center of this clay. Now, I'm not going towards the bottom. I'm not going all the way through. I'm going about 3/4 of the way through. Then I'm going to take my hand, kind of like a sock puppet, with my thumb on the inside to start. I'm going to pinch, spin, pinch, spin, pinch, spin, and repeat that pattern to widen that opening in a consistent, equal way. From there, I can then put my fingers in there instead of my thumb. And I can use the palm on the outside of my hand, and I can pinch, pinch, pull my fingers towards my palm, and I can start widening that. You guys, it is very important. I want all of you to listen. Your clay cannot be any thicker than about, I would say, let's try to shoot for, where's my ruler? A 1/4 of an inch. I'm going to grab a ruler just to show you. All right, so actually 1/2 inch is like the thickest your clay can be. So on this ruler, I want you guys to see 1/2 inch is about that thick. Your clay will explode in the kiln if it is thicker than that. If it's way chunky, it will crack or it will explode partially or completely. No project can be solid in the kiln, so you have to make sure, especially with pinching, that you are pinching it thin enough for it to dry equally and to not collect too much moisture before it's fired. Now, some little trick here. You can roll that bowl if it's getting a little wonky or bumpy. You can even roll it at different angles to kind of smooth it out as you're pinching too. You can manipulate it into whatever shape you want. Say I want something for like paintbrushes to be organized, but in a little paint cup for. Maybe I put some brushes over here, some brushes over here. I don't know, but you can think about whatever function you want your project to be. Now this is really done messy. For craftsmanship, being scored on that for this project, you would smooth this out. You can smooth it out with your finger and some slip as you go. Make sure there are no cracks along the way. Sometimes, and keep in mind, the more you work the clay, the drier it gets. So you might have to go into slip or use a spray bottle to rehydrate it if you start getting any cracks along the construction process. All right, so this is pinching. The next technique I'm going to show you, I'm going to wedge and get all these air bubbles out first. The next technique I am going to show you is coil building. Now this one takes a little longer, but I want to make sure all these bubbles and chunks are consistent before I work with it again. All right, and for this technique, you are going to tear off some of your clay, and you are going to start out with rolling it between two hands like this to begin your coil. So it's this thick coil right now. And what you want to do is then place it horizontally on your wood board. Sometimes it's helpful to do it right on your table. Just make sure that you wash your table really good when you're done, or right on the counter in the clay room if you'd prefer to use that surface instead. But I'm smoothing it out just a little bit before I roll on my surface. Okay, so the technique for rolling and expanding your coil is that you start with your fingers in the middle and you roll, 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 make sure it's nice and smooth all the way around. And then you go slowly, you're gonna spread your hands apart slowly to make it longer. Now, if you get folds in there, you're gonna wanna smooth those out along the way so it doesn't make any bubbles. So if you have any folds, make sure you pinch and kind of smooth it out and then keep rolling. And you want to thin it out and make this coil really, really long. Now, because my board is only so long, or my surface and workstation, I'm going to actually take this now into two parts. So I'm going to take my needle tool and I'm going to slice it right down the middle, put this one aside, and I'm going to focus on getting this one longer and thinner. Notice how I'm getting a fold right there? Right away, I'm going to repair that so that I don't have any issues later. If your clay is cracking while you are doing this process, that means you need to spray it or add a little bit of slip and just kind of let that absorb in there so that there is no cracking or crumbling. I'm stretching, stretching, stretching. Trying my best to make it pretty consistent. And I suggest that you do this by hand and you prepare quite a few coils if you want to construct it all at once. So you kind of have to go a little fast to like get this all created. And then once you have a really long coil, like you see here, I'm going to start making the base. So I'll start with this. It cracked a little bit, so I'm gonna add some water there. Actually, I'm gonna do this piece here and show you. First thing, you have an option. You can, for the bottom of your coil, you can even use the slip bottle as a tracer, like the top of it. I'll give you an option. You can use a slab as a base, and then you can use this to coil and build upwards to kind of snake around or do rings. Or you can make a base by creating a spiral like I showed you in that slide. But it's important that if you are creating a spiral shape, kind of like this, to make it your base, you have to score and slip in between each one of these parts. So you have to, it's kind of time consuming. For the time that we have today, I'm going to just show you how to use a slab base and then coil building going upwards. Coil building is a good technique if you want to create a vase that maybe starts narrow and then it comes outwards and then it goes narrow again. So if it's like kind of like a more organic shape, like a Greek vase or something, that this will be a fun technique to manipulate that with. But what you want to do first is you want to take a needle tool and you're going to have to score around the outside of your base. I'm going in one direction, going in the other direction, spinning as I go. I also am going to add some slip. Not smoothing it out, just adding some moisture. Now, wherever I'm attaching it, I'm also going to, with my coil, I'm going to score in both directions. I'm going to go down my coil. And I'm going really, really fast because I know we only have so much time today. But wherever I'm attaching this coil to the base, I have to score and slip both pieces. So slips here and scored, slip here and score. And then I'm going to start attaching them together. If you only score one side, it might slide off the other piece. So it's important that you score and slip all the pieces before you attach them. So there's a technique you can do the rings stacked on top of one another, or you can do a snake. So I'm going to show you the snake technique, and what you have to do is with a needle tool make a ramp about right here so that it goes up nicely at a diagonal. Then you can score your coil as you go if you have a long enough coil, and also score what you are attaching to, which is this section here. So you're going to be doing a ton of slipping and scoring with this technique, but you get in this rhythm of it, which is kind of like fun and relaxing. Add some slip here. And then you have a choice if you want it to show the coils, or you can smooth out the inside and the outside. So I'll show you what those look like once I get these layers on here. But you would build upwards. And again, whatever look you want, you can have this stacked coil look, and you can clean it up with a tool like this that has an angle to it. And you can clean up, but keep those sections showing. And then you can use some slip, and you can just go in with your fingernail to go for craftsmanship. Clean it up so that those scoring scratches are kind of hidden. So that's a cool look. Or you can take a smooth wood block tool. I like the ones that have a slight bend to them. And you can pull some of that clay down, pull some of it up, some of it down, some of it up, some of it down. And you can go back and forth, and you can seal all of those ridges. And then you can go in with some slip in your finger, and you can smooth it out just like that. So you can decide, do you want to do this structurally and then smooth it out for a finish, or do you like those ridges showing for your particular design? But you can build up, out, whatever shape with coil building. It's pretty fun. So this is an option for you as well. The last option I want to show you, and I know I talked about what was it? The ribbon, I forgot what it was called. not coils, strips, that's the word I'm looking for. Strips, you would, basically you would do a slab and you would have, you can use a ruler or a needle tool and you slice it. You can smooth it out, roll it out if you want even more, and then you can construct it, you know, however you want, part by part like that. But what I'm going to show you with the remaining time we have is slab building. So this was put through the slab roller. It has consistent thickness to it. I am using slip to smooth out the bumpy texture that was created by the fabric on the slab roller. So I'm just going to do that with my finger at this point. And then for slab building, I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to do, I don't know, just a basic cube shape. So just show you whatever structure you want to do. You can use a needle tool as a slicer. You can do it straight with a ruler if you want to be really precise and measure out dimensions.
Please excuse this interruption. Will Mr. Cable's decisions classes hours 4 through 6 please report to the cafeteria at this time? Thank you.
Have fun on your field trip. All right. So anyways, the last, you'll notice that I'm kind of using my needle tool. I'm really slicing those edges to clean them up for my pieces I'm going to attach together. Like a gingerbread house, you are going to then stack them in certain ways. Again, you can measure them out so the dimensions are a little bit more accurate. Or you can eyeball it kind of like how I'm doing. It's up to you. But if I'm attaching these two pieces together, I want to decide, am I going to attach like this with two pieces there? Or do I want to do it diagonally and have a seam like this? So that you have an option. Do you want to, I'll show you this fancy way first. So I'm doing it kind of like at a 45-degree angle slice. And you can seal it diagonally for craftsmanship, but you have to score wherever you're adhering them together. And you can do this at whatever angle or curve or shape you want. Add that slip to both sections. And then you can fit them together to create a nice seam there. Instead of, like some people use their fingernail to clean that up, I like to use a woodblock tool that has a point to it, or maybe even this rounded one. I take that back. I'm going to try this one. Look at how nice that is to just seal it on the inside. And then I can do some cleaning up on the outside. Let's add some slip just to make it nice and soft. And then I can clean it up with that woodblock tool for craftsmanship purposes as I go. Okay, so notice how that's working there. So I did that at an angle. You can also do it more just like edge to edge. So if I was to do it that way, again, I'm going to clean up, make sure it's nice and crisp on both parts. I'm going to score where I want to attach it here. And then I'm going to score it on this edge, on this edge here. Going in different directions of scratching. Slip, slip. Well, bam, here we are. Make sure you're smushing it, but without like bending it. And then you can seal it with slip and a wood block tool. And then that inside, it's really good for craftsmanship and to keep it from cracking, to do that sealing on the inside. But I really like these tools that have a long angle to them. There are some that have like a shorter angle. You can kind of get some smoothness to it as well. And that might work for cleanliness purposes. Okay, so you decide on which method will work best for your particular design. I want to see your sketches tomorrow, so work on them. If you want to work ahead tonight, you can, or you can work on them during the hour tomorrow. So your functional clay vessel, remember it has to be engaging from all views. Approximately 4 inches in some dimension, so about this size. That's minimum. Please do not go larger than 6 inches, though. That's our goal. So no larger than 6 inches in one direction, either height or length or width or whatever. So try to be considerate of how much clay you are using, because we need you to use clay for this project, for the pottery wheel project, and for your other hand building project. Okay? So thank you those that were watching the video. You guys, yeah, I hope that everyone has a good day. And everyone else here can start cleaning up.